Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us tonight to get us started on Facebook as well on Instagram. So please get settled. Let us know where you're joining in from today. Love seeing folks from across the state join us. So please say hello in the chat as I welcome more folks to come in. So hello. Oh, hi, Ashton. Great to see you. Glad you could make it. We'll give folks a minute or so. Oh my gosh, what a great crowd tonight. I love to see it. We're letting more folks in. And our Facebook's being a little weird. So I'm going to try to do this one more time and then also go on Instagram as well. So thank you so much, y'all, for making the time on a Sunday night to join me. Let me make sure and see. Let me check Facebook right now. Oh my God, is it working? Oh, it is working. Okay, great. We're on Facebook. Okay, I'm gonna watch the Facebook. Oh man, I didn't even know it was working. That's great. I love when that happens. Let more folks in the room. And then let me get us started on Instagram too. We're like showing up in multiple different places right now. So trying to be accessible to folks of every access point. And so appreciate y'all tuning in for this. Let me just get this started as well. Ballot review. We have a lot to cover, so I don't want to start too late. Ballot review with Anna. Okay, perfect. Okay, we're gonna get that started real quick as well. Okay, we're getting live on Instagram. Letting for more folks in from the waiting room. This is so great. Hi, everyone. Great to see you. Thank you so much for being a part of this tonight. I am so grateful for your engagement and that you care about the August elections. And so thank you, thank you, thank you for making the time. Great to see you as well, Sharon. Oh, Harriet in Maryland, but from Naples. Thank you, Harriet. Christmas, Florida in the house. Rita's here. First Church in Orlando. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Jeff. Oh my gosh, we have Lake Mary here. Audubon Park in the house. Conway's here. Thank you, Mary. Claremont. Okay, Jeff knows his precincts. I love that. Winter Park is here. Avalon Park. My dad lives in Avalon Park. Shout out to the east side. Clearwater, Tony from Tallahassee. Good to see you, Tony. College Park, 32804 is in the house. Space Coast, Melbourne, Highway, great to see you. Metro West is here. Maitland. I love this. Thank you everyone so much for being a part of this. Let's send more folks into the waiting room. Yeah, I'm doing the tech. 32803. Carla from Conway. I love that. This is awesome. We have 100 people here in Zoom world. That is so cool. I'm so grateful that y'all have made the time to do this. This is actually quite bittersweet as this is my last ever ballot review as a state representative. Of course, I will still continue to do them in a different capacity, but wanted to make a special note for this one. This will be my last one as a state representative. I also see 32805's here. What's up, KG? Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Um, oh, I already got a good question. Are the new gerrymander maps staying? Unfortunately, at this point, they are. They totally are. So I'll talk about that. But we are voting in November, and if you're voting in an August primary, you are voting on gerrymandered maps. And so I can definitely talk more about that as well. This is great. Oakland, but currently on a plane in New York. Oh my gosh, safe travels, babe. All right, let me see. Oh, Gary and Jill Cohen, great to see y'all too. Okay, awesome. Cool. I think we have a great gathering of folks too. So this is awesome. Thanks so much for tuning in. And so let's go ahead and get started. So I host these every single like 2 years, right? So every like major election cycle, if you will, just to kind of give folks guidance on what's on your ballot and to help you make an informed decision. It's really not about me emphasizing one candidate over the other, though obviously if you want my opinion, I'm happy to share it. But my intention is not to tell you what to do, right? Like my intention is to give you information, guidance so that you can make an informed decision. But if that obviously, is in alignment, that's great. But this is a space for every type of person. And I do want to ask for your questions. I'll do my best to grab all of them. I am streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and Zoom. So I might miss questions, to be honest, but I'll do my best to grab as many as possible. We only have an hour together. For those who are on Zoom and Facebook, you're going to have the benefit of a PowerPoint slide, which I'm going to share actually shortly. I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen right now. You'll let me know if you see it. But if you are joining me on Instagram, I'm going to describe the slides to you because you're not going to actually be able to see them on Instagram. Now, with that said, for my Instagram folks, you are obviously welcome to join us on Facebook. If you RSVP on the Mobilize, you'll also get that Zoom link. But our Facebook page will have the PowerPoint slide as well. But I'll explain what I'm talking about to my Instagram friends at the same time. But you might prefer watching it on Facebook or Zoom because you'll get a PowerPoint slide. I will, of course, share this PowerPoint slide deck with others as well. But I do want to provide some visuals and also do some screen sharing. So for my Instagram friends, you might prefer watching on Facebook or Zoom because you'll get to see the visual and screen sharing that I'll provide. So with that said, before I get started at all, I have before me two different documents that I want to explain to you, okay? Now, obviously, I think if you're tuned in tonight, you know who I am, but I should probably start introductions. My name is Anna Eskamani. I'm a state representative here in the Florida legislature. I am joining you from my home in District 42 in downtown Orlando. And again, very thank you, Tony, Anna V. Eskamani, and very grateful that again you've decided to spend your Sunday night with me. Um, I was first elected in 2018. I am now approaching the constitutional limits of my time in office in Florida, the state legislature. We can only serve up to 8 years consecutively. So this is my last term in the Florida House, and of course, very humbled and very grateful that you have trusted me to be in this work now for four back-to-back elections, and of course running for the city of Orlando as my next chapter. If you so wish to see that and support those efforts, I am grateful for that. I see someone asking for the Zoom link. So if you just go to mobilize.us, so mobilize.us/Anna for Florida, you will find that the link to sign up and it will send you the automatic Zoom link. And I will try to actually keep an eye on the participant list because I definitely want to. I see new people already hopping on, so I'm letting them in right now. So I will do my best to keep track of all these tabs. I don't have staff support tonight, so it's just me, y'all. So I'll do my best to watch this as much as I can. Okay, so so actually, quick disclaimer, one more disclaimer, sorry. I am focused on providing research skills that can apply to any person you're researching. However, I will say that my focus will definitely be in Orange County because I live in Orange County. So like the samples that I have are Orange County based, but I will be providing you with tools and research skills that apply to any part of the state. But ultimately, my best tools will be more Orange County oriented. Um, LOL, thank you, Ashton. That's so sweet. Ashton just offered. Ashton and I grew up together, and you're so sweet. Maybe I can make you a co-host. Okay, Ashton, you're now a co-host if you want to let people into the Zoom room. Thank you. Okay, so this is a little confusing. So a lot of folks have told me throughout these last 2 weeks they have not received a sample ballot. They said they're still waiting for their sample ballot. So our Orange County Supervisor Elections Office is doing things a little bit differently now. And my understanding is that this is like the key to your sample ballot. So if you got this little postcard in the mail, you should definitely open it because what it does is it has voting information inside, and then it gives you a QR code to look at your early vote locations, and then it also gives you a QR code to request a mail ballot. And then I believe it also has a QR code to get a personalized sample ballot. Yep, on the back side. So if you got this little postcard in the mail, it is, kind of a small tool, right? This is the size of it. There's Karen's awesome headshot. If you got this in the mail, you do not want to ignore it because this is literally like all your information. It also includes your election day polling location, but it is a little confusing because this is not what you're used to. This is very, very new. And so don't ignore it. It includes like all the important election information. And like I said, if you're someone like me, so I vote by mail usually. I usually vote by mail. But when I vote in person, I like to have a sample ballot that I fill out so I know what I'm voting for when I walk in and I don't have to spend time, trying to figure it out. But in this case, you're not going to get that in the mail. You have to specifically request it. And so please, please, please make a note of that and make sure that you are asking for a sample ballot. With that said, as
Anna,
it's
can
coming.
you stop sharing your screen and show your video again? People can't see the
Oh,
what you're
good
showing.
question. Yeah, I can do that. Thank you. Well, I actually have screenshots, so I don't want to jump too ahead, but yes, I can do that real quick. So let me go ahead just so y'all can see it better. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. So this is a little postcard for my Instagram folks that came in the mail. Okay. That's a little postcard that you do not want to ignore. And so I was actually going to grab questions real quick too. Let me see. So what can we do if our sample ballot got lost? Great question. You should call the supervisor of elections office. So for all of your election questions, you want to contact the supervisor of elections office of your county. So if you're in Orange County, that general phone number, and I'll type it in the chat too for folks that might need it, but also read out loud for those who need that support. So it's 407-836-2070. So that's the Orange County Supervisor Elections Office. That's 407-836-2070. And I'm going to drop that here in the Instagram chat as well. So y'all have it. So if you live in Orange County and you are facing challenges, you don't have a sample ballot, you lost this postcard, maybe you threw it away. Again, I'll do a screen share, so I'll send you another way that you can find your sample ballot online, but you can easily call the SOE and they will mail it to you. And I do see some folks saying, can you walk into the supervisor of elections office and ask for a sample ballot? Absolutely, you can do that. Yes, thank you, Shayla. We have folks who are blind and visually impaired. They're listening, so I will describe everything in great detail. So I appreciate you uplifting that as well, and it's great to have you with us. Yeah, so Lynn Henderson, I called the election office and asked them to send me a sample ballot a few days ago. Um, and will I cover the general November election? I will talk about that as well. Thank you, Tom, for being here. Okay, cool. I think I grabbed everyone's questions. And then, oh, so why haven't we seen as many Democratic ads as we've seen Donald's ads? That's a great question. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, so I might pin that question. But remember, there's a very competitive Republican primary. There isn't as competitive as a Democratic primary. So you're seeing a lot of ads for Republican candidates because their primary is seen a lot more competitive than the Democratic one. So I will say that one reason why you're also seeing more ads is that they just have more money. It's like that simple. You can't run ads without money. And, in the United States, there is not like, there's no public financing. So candidates only have what they raise to spend. And so it's not like an equal, even split. So that's a part of it too, is just the difference in resources because they're raising money from different places. So yeah. Okay. Is the sample ballot a real ballot? It is not a real ballot, but it will look like a real ballot. So I'll show you that in a second as well. Um, does anyone have what the Sentinel ballot looks like? So the ballots will all look the same for the most part. And I'm going to show you a screenshot of that soon as well. Okay, cool. So, yep, I will walk you through the SOE website. I have that as my screen sharing. Okay, I think we're back on track. So the other thing that I have, by the way, is my vote by mail ballot. Okay, so for those on Instagram and those on Zoom, and Facebook. I also have my vote by mail ballot. And again, this looks pretty generic. This is going to be for my precinct, which I'll explain what that means in a second. But this, a typical ballot is going to have um, information on the top of your precinct. It's going to be in English and Spanish. It's going to include all the races that have primaries in them and nonpartisan elections. And this is so important to remember. I do not refer to the August elections as primary elections because they don't just have primaries, right? There's a lot of nonpartisan elections that are happening that people of all political parties can vote in, and we don't want you to ignore that. So let's go ahead and go back to the screen share. and I will walk folks through some of these basic dynamics, okay? So the ballot, I already kind of mentioned this, but what's on your ballot this August, okay? Remember that it's a combination of candidates you can only vote in if you're one of the big political parties, i.e., Republican or Democrat. And that includes statewide and local races like state house, nonpartisan races, which include school board, county mayor, commission, and judges. Remember, everyone can vote in those elections. I do want to flag that I am not on your ballot this year. And there's like a lot of sweet people that have been like, where are you? You're not on my ballot. I just want to do a quick PSA that we are running for Orlando City Mayor, which will be on your November 2027 ballot if you live in the city of Orlando. So there's a lot of confusion about this because we have the Orange County mayor's elections right now. And a lot of folks are really excited because they think that I'm running in that race. And I know that for folks who are knocking on doors, you're getting other candidates at your door and you're being like really, really supportive of us and protective of us, which I so love. But don't fret. The county mayor race for Orange County is not the same as the city of Orlando election. So the city has odd year elections. So the city elections are every 2 years, but in the odd years. So it's 2025, 2027, 2029, 2031. And so, just as an FYI, you will see me on a ballot if you live in the city of Orlando, but just not this cycle. So, I want to make sure I provided that disclaimer because I know folks are like a little confused. But I do appreciate like all the good vibes. It's been really sweet. Okay, let me just see. Okay, make sure I missed any questions. All right, cool. So, let's keep moving forward. Okay, so this next slide is all about research tips. So when you are voting, whether you're a first-time voter or maybe you're a seasoned voter, but you need some help doing research, there's a lot of tips and tricks I will offer. I am going to do a screen share to tell you how to use the website vote411.org. But ultimately, a lot of the research available to you is kind of based on how you want to do research, but also just your knowledge of what's available out there, right? And so, first of all, most candidates will have a campaign website. Now, be mindful that a candidate is going to talk about things in a lens that they probably find favorable. They're going to emphasize what their points are. They might provide contrast. So campaign websites are a great starting point, but I wouldn't make that your end all be all of your research. But most candidates will have a campaign website that you can visit and contact them, that kind of stuff. Local newspaper. So the Orlando Sentinel does do endorsements, and the Orlando Sentinel also does candidate interviews. And they typically post the entire interview on their YouTube and on their website. And I really do think it's important as much as you can to listen to candidates in their own voice. And in fact, for the Orange County mayoral election, WESH has done debates. Tiger Bay just did a debate. I believe Channel 9, WFTV is doing a debate this week. And for the school board, there have been many forums and more to come. Do every candidate show up to these forums? Definitely depends. I don't know if I have anyone here from my team at People Power for Florida, but tomorrow, PBFF is teaming up with other youth groups, and we are hosting a speed dating session with Orange County candidates for mayor. So I'll be sure to drop that and send that to everyone in the chat as well. But there's a lot of just important media outlets that are doing research. It could even be a podcaster you care about or like an independent journalist, but ultimately being thoughtful to what the local newspapers and news sites are saying can also be of value to you. Endorsements and scorecards. And so oftentimes organizations you like or don't like will do scorecards on different candidates. For example, I every year I get an F from the Florida Chamber. And I say that as a badge of honor because the Florida Chamber really overwhelmingly represents large corporations over workers and everyday people. So like I don't mind getting an F from the Florida Chamber. And so sometimes it's like organizations that you support or organizations that you don't support, but seeing how they rank candidates that are running. So like I said, it might be the Equality Florida endorsement and you like Equality Florida, so you want to know how they think. Or it might be an organization that you don't like, maybe like the National Rifle Association, and you see what their position is, or vice versa, right? But looking at organizations that endorse and don't endorse candidates can also give you, I'm sorry, looking at if they endorse someone or don't endorse someone can also give you some insights. Vote records, right? So looking at people's vote records can also be really, really, really helpful. Be mindful that, titles of bills don't always reflect what the bill does. So please be mindful of that. I've been seeing a lot of AI websites and AI tools being used to like analyze people's vote records. Please, please, please be cautious when using AI to make a decision in general. Be cautious when using AI to analyze vote records. It is very, very imperfect. And I mean, I see videos all the time of AI making mistakes. And so please, please be mindful when it comes to using AI as a trusted resource. Um, and then campaign finance. So I'm a big believer in knowing where money comes from and do my best to research where a candidate's money is coming from, who funds them. And I will say that it can be difficult to track all campaign finance reports because oftentimes there's a lot of shenanigans and money can move between political committees, money can move between C4s and political committees, which makes it harder to track. But ultimately, campaign finance data is available. And I know a lot of folks lean on websites like Open Secrets. It's a lot harder to use Open Secrets as it pertains to state and local races. Open Secrets is mostly federal candidates. Still has value, but it's not really tracking Florida-based candidates. And so if you are looking for campaign finance for local Florida candidates, it depends on the race. So if it's a state candidate, then you need to check the Division of Elections website, the state Division of Elections website. And if it's a local candidate, you have to check that county or city website. Candidly, I feel like it's intentionally confusing because a lot of candidates don't want to know where their money comes from. So the process is very, very cumbersome. If there's time tonight, I'm happy to do a screen share and teach you how to look up campaign finance reports. But I don't know if we're gonna have time, but I'm really happy to do that if you're interested. And you can always do it in a different setting as well. Okay, so this next slide, for those who can't see it, is just a long list of organizations that I mentioned that you might like or don't like, that make endorsements, that get involved in elections. And so, I won't read through it, but basically just being mindful of what groups you like and don't like. That might influence how you vote for someone or on issue. Guidance from the supervisor elections office. So our supervisor election officer, Karen Castor-Dental, sent me a note on Friday and wanted me to uplift a few of these updates for y'all. I reviewed some of this already, but I will real quick just read this out so everyone can hear it. Uh, Again, I'll do a screen share, but there is a new website, voteorangefl.gov. This is the new Orange County Supervisor Elections website. Sample ballots have been sent with the QR codes personalized for each voter's ballot. So that's what I just referenced. If you want a physical sample ballot, you can call to request one mailed to you, but you can also print them online. And I already talked about how to call the SOE as well. So I'll not be repetitive here, but I want to make sure you have this information. Okay, so some quick reminders. This next slide, for those who can't see it, are just reminders of how to vote. Okay, and again, I'll go through this quickly because I think most folks know this. But there's three ways that you can vote in Florida. You can vote by mail, you can early vote, or you can vote on election day. So vote by mail is requesting a ballot to be mailed to you, and then you mail it back. And again, you're going to get a ballot, you're going to get an envelope, and you're going to get a security sleeve. And the whole point is that you fill out this ballot at home, you put it in a security sleeve, you stick it in this envelope, you seal it, and then you sign it, right? And you can mail it, or you can drop it off at a supervisor of elections office, or you can drop it off at a early vote location. Most early vote locations do have ballot drop boxes. They have to be monitored, et cetera, et cetera. You can also track your vote by mail ballot at Ballot Tracks, which is on the Orange County Supervisor Elections Office. And I will show you that in a second. Early vote. So one reason why I hosted this event tonight is because early vote starts tomorrow. So tomorrow you can early vote in Orange County, and you can vote at any early vote location as an Orange County registered voter. So if you register to vote in Orange County, you can go anywhere you want that is an early vote location. Most public libraries become early vote locations. So let's just say you live on the east side of town, but you work downtown. You don't have to vote at the Alafaya Branch Library. You can vote at a different library. There are 27 early vote locations, and I'll show you how to find them in a second. But remember, you don't have to vote at the one that's closest to you for early vote. However, on election day, you do need to vote at your specific polling location, and that is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you got to be in line before 7 p.m. If you're in line before 7 p.m. and the line, goes past, you're in line past 7 p.m., as long as you're in line by 7, you are good to vote. Okay. With that said, I wanted to walk folks through how to read your registration card. And I actually might do like a reverse screen here for my Instagram folks who can see this because I did make this for you. So I'll walk you through this real quick. Okay. So you probably have barely looked at your voter registration card. I know for me, I keep it in my wallet and I don't look at it a lot. But last week, I was providing a voter education session to one of our senior residencies, and we all pulled out voter registration cards, and I walked everyone through what all these numbers mean because it is a little confusing of what these numbers mean, right? So I'm going to walk you through it real quick. So obviously you see up here where your full name would be and your address, okay? That's kind of self-explanatory. Then you have your polling location for election day. Okay, so this one is the First Unitarian Church of Orlando. This is the polling location that this voter, if they voted on election day, that is where they would go vote, okay? And then you have on the right-hand side, your voter identification number, okay, which is given to you when you register to vote. You have your political party. And by the way, in Florida, obviously we have the two main political parties. We also have many smaller political parties you can also still register with. And you also can be no party affiliation. Remember, if you're no party affiliation, that just means that you are not able to vote in those primaries in August, but you can still vote in all the other August elections. So just be aware of that, right? Your precinct. So this is the county precinct. I say that because the city has different precinct numbers. It can get very confusing. But if you're in precinct 302, then you're voting at this polling location. And so precincts are actually, pro tip, when you're in precinct 302, any guesses what county commission seat you're in? I know it's up here too, but any guesses of what county commission seat you're in if you're in precinct 302? I'll give you all a minute to guess. What county commission seat are you in if you live in precinct 302? Thank you, Smith family. Yes, you're in county commission 3. Okay. So that's a good pro tip for you. So let's talk about the more confusing stuff, right? All these numbers on the bottom. Okay. So these are your districts, right? This is who represents you at every level of government, right? And so you have for Congress, this is District 10, that's Maxwell Frost. Florida State Senate, District 17, that's Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith. House District 42, this is yours truly. County Commission 3. So this is a little confusing because the county commission districts are being rewritten, right? They were two new county commission seats were drawn. So I wasn't in District 3. I was in District 5 last year, but now I'm in District 3 of the new county commission seats. And then District 6 is your school board seat. And this is Stephanie Vanos. And then if you live in the city, if you live in a city, whether it's Windermere, Apopka, Winter Park, if you live in a city, then you're going to have a box down here that tells you your city and your city district. And so remember that if you don't live in a city, you're just in unincorporated Orange County, this would be blank. You would not have a city listed here. But when you do have a city that you live in, then it will say city and the name of the city district you're in. If you live in a city, you can still vote in the August election. Okay. So I see a question that's coming in, a good question. I don't understand the difference. Is this election August a primary election? It is a primary election, but there's also non-primary races. So you have primary questions like US Senate, US state governor, but you also have non-partisan elections that everyone can vote in. And that's what we're really emphasizing tonight. You don't have to be with a political party to vote in this election. Okay. So now I'm going to do a screen share. Um, I was already asked to show the Orange County SOE website, which I wonder for my Instagram friends, because that actually kind of worked out. I wonder if I can like do this for y'all, like do a little screen share. Okay. Okay. I don't know. I know it's not like the best view for my Instagram friends, but let's just show you kind of you can see my what I owe F dot and tolls. I have ePass, but it's never working, so I get a bill in the mail too. It's quite annoying. Okay, so just for my Instagram folks, right? So this is the Orange County Supervisor Elections website we talked about. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but a lot of great information on this website. You can get general election information here, including the election calendar. If you click on elections, this is kind of like all the information that you need, including how to request a mail ballot. By the way, the deadline to request a vote by mail ballot for this election is August 6th. So you still have time to request a vote by mail ballot. You can track your ballot, information on voting early. This is all, actually, this is great because it's a map. This is a map of the early voting locations in Orange County. And again, you can vote at any early voting location. And then it does list them down here as well with a few new ones, which is really cool. So you have a few new early vote locations this year as well. Okay. So what I really want to show you to talk more about what's on your ballot. So one of the best websites to research candidates really is provided by the Legal One Voters, and that is vote411.org. So I love this website because one, it's nonpartisan. Two, it gives you the perspective of candidates in their own voice. And so it asks candidates the same exact questions. Here, I'm just getting this position on my Instagram. It asks them the same exact questions so you can kind of see for yourself where someone stands on issues in their own words. So if I went ahead and put in my legislative office address here, so I'm gonna click submit, say no thanks, and then it comes with plan your vote, right? So first of all, it gives you all these great dates so you know what's going on and when the elections are. And then it also lets you create a voter guide. And so you can, Tom, good point. Tom wrote a lot of Republican candidates did not respond. I think not responding is a concern on its own, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and click Democrat because I'm a registered Democrat. Okay. So I'm gonna say save and view races. And so I can basically, so these are all the races that I can vote in August based on where I live. And it lets you basically like build a sample ballot. And so I can click on the race, I can see who my options are. And then if I click on them, it'll actually give me all of their information, including some campaign finance information, which is really cool. And then it asks both candidates the same exact questions, right? And so these questions about immigration, climate change, top two legislative priorities for the next congressional term. And so you can compare both candidates. And actually, I think if you click compare answers, it'll do it side by side for you. So you can actually go through and look at the candidates and decide what to do. And you can click my choice based on who you like. And so I want to, provide some clarity, right? Because I see Tony made a good point. I know there's no AG primary on the sample ballot. That's because former Senator Jose Rodriguez is the nominee. So you're not going to see every race here because not every race has a primary. So, for example, to Tony's point, only one Democrat is running for Attorney General. So you're not going to see Attorney General up here because there is no primary. Only one person ran for it, right? Um, and so, yeah, and Barbara Knapp has a great point here. I make it a point. If the candidate doesn't respect me enough to answer the question so I can make an informed choice, he or she has lost my vote. I think that's a pretty good standard to have, Barbara. It's good to see you too. So judges. Judges get definitely like I know a lot of people they stress about who to vote for judge. I will say that it's so important to do research on judges, and it can get confusing because if you're not a lawyer, you might just not have good insights on this. I will give you my recommendations for judicial candidates, but like I said, you can still check out their answers here. You can even, again, do compare answers and you can see what their background is. You can see, what they share about their quorum experience, criminal defendants, like judicial independence. So a lot of great information here that, again, I encourage you to do research and use this as a tool to decide who you want to vote for. Okay. Um, so let me just stop and see if there's any questions on that on using vote41.org. Thank you. I never voted for a mayor, but I got you. Hey, I appreciate that. Um, yes, very important primaries that judges are on the ballot. Oh, thank you, Kyle. Really appreciate all the work you put in as the best civil servant I know. I'm looking forward to having you as mayor. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. I'm proud to do this work. Proud to be a teacher, to get folks, in the loop and informed. Um, okay, so I see some good. Hi, Jasmine. Good to see you. Would you please tell us who you're voting for? I got you, girl. I'm getting to that very soon. Sorry, I'm like hiding the plot here. I love it. Okay, let's get to the juicy part. Because I think I'm pretty much done. Like, I just wanted to do a screen share with y'all on that. I just want to remind you of these dates, and then let's go through some of my again issues with the ballot. Contact your local supervisor of elections, and then here are my recs. I feel this is what everybody was waiting for. So first disclaimer, and I'm happy to take questions. I'm ready to take questions. First disclaimer is, oh, I'm sorry, Instagram. Let me get this back on for you. Sorry, Instagram. Okay, my fellow millennials here don't use Facebook or Zoom. Okay, so this is a little hard to read, but I'm gonna stretch it out. Okay, so first of all, I have not made endorsements in every race yet. And I think it's really important because I have my reasons, right? So everybody wants to know who I'm voting for Orange County Mayor. If you contact me one-on-one, I'm happy to tell you. But as someone who's running for City of Orlando Mayor, I am being very intentional in waiting to see who makes it to a runoff because I need to be able, on behalf of the city, work with any county mayor. And so I'm just being more intentional, more thoughtful in burning a bridge before I even get there. So I'm being a little more intentional in maintaining a relationship with the candidates who are running to basically see what happens in the August election. However, if you want my opinion, I'm happy to share it. But I have not made a formal endorsement, but I'm happy to dive deeper into the options. With that said, I have not officially endorsed in any judicial races, but these are my recommendations. There is a very important disclaimer here. Judy Hayes has already won her election because her opponent got appointed as something else. But Judy Hayes is still on your ballot, and I do encourage you to still vote for her. And by the way, I will do a graphic of these recs to post on social media so you can see them as well. There's also another race, a judicial race between Cherish Adams and Joy Goodyear. I've heard positive things on both candidates. I've met both several times. I do know that Cherish Adams was a DeSantis appointee But my understanding is that neither one of them have. Well, I know Joy is a public defender in her background, so I really like that. And so again, I'm leaning towards Joy because I think it's great to have more criminal defense attorneys in places people with PD experience in these judicial environments. But I've heard a lot of lawyers say good things about both candidates, so I want to be sensitive to that. But these are my recommendations on judicial candidates. None of these are Federal Society people. They're really good, smart candidates. Asma Azam, I've known for a very, very long time. And so these are the folks that I'm really excited about. I've also endorsed Angie Nixon, the US Senate. I've endorsed Samuel Vilches Santiago in District 43. I've endorsed John Lowndes in State Senate 10. For Orange County School Board, oh, sorry, I don't know why it keeps unsharing. Okay. Orange County School Board, I am proud to support for school board chair. These are formal endorsements. Angie Gallo. For District 1, Melissa Lopez Morantes. For District 2, Gloria Rene O'Neill. For District 3, Suzanne Pena. So these are four women that I am proud to support in the bid for Orange County School Board. Not every one of you will have a school board candidate because not every school board seat is up for election. I will say that we have Moms for Liberty candidates running in all of these races. It's very concerning. Folks that want to defund public education, that want to politicize public education. These four women are good, smart public servants. They have children that go to the school, the Orange County public school system. They're fantastic. And so I can't say enough good things about these four women running for your school board. Clerk of Court, so I am supporting Roberta Walton Johnson. I know Roberta for a long time. She serves as the general counsel for the Clerk of Courts right now. She basically runs the Clerk of Courts alongside the current clerk, Tiffany Moore Russell, who's running for Orange County Mayor. And they both do a phenomenal job, and Roberta is ready for the job. She's been doing it and she's ready to go. So county mayor and commissioner. So one endorsement I have made in the commissioner seats is District 4, Johanna Lopez. I also have a good shout out to District 8, Victor Torres in District 8. I've known Victor for a long time. He's known me since I was a 20-year-old. And so District 8, Victor Torres is someone that's very near and dear to my heart. For CFO, I've endorsed Annette Tadeo. And for Commissioner of Agriculture, I have not made an endorsement in this race, but Joey Mendoza Atkins is talking on his website about going after the big sugar, concerns about the Florida Wildlife Commission. He definitely is talking the issues that I care about. So that's who I'm supporting in that regard. Let me see what other, I see more questions coming in the chat. Okay. I thought the US Senate position vote is this November. Okay, great question. This is where it gets a little confusing. Okay. So, yes, you are right that the US Senate position is in November, but there is a Democratic primary. So, if you are in one of the two like political parties, right? If you're a registered Republican or Democrat, you're going to have a potential primary. So, this is the Ashley Moody. Ashley Moody is the current US Senator. She was appointed by Ron DeSantis. So she actually is not, she's never been elected for US Senate. She was appointed when Senator Marco Rubio became the Secretary of State. Okay. I'm gonna actually reverse this screen real quick for my Instagram folks. Okay. So quick modern history lesson. US Senator Marco Rubio becomes Secretary of State for the country. Governor DeSantis appoints Ashley Moody to be the U.S. Senator of Florida to replace him. She is now running for election for the first time. There are two Democrats running for that seat, Representative Angie Nixon and Alex Bidman. Representative Nixon is someone who I've served with in the legislature. She is my friend. She is a fierce fighter for Florida families. I have endorsed her, but again, I respect everyone's viewpoints on this. And so if you are a registered Democrat, you will see in your ballot a vote between Angie Nixon and Alex Bidman. Whoever wins that August election then goes to the November election. So that's the difference between the two. So I see a question from Rita. Judy, Mark Miller is no longer in the race. So it's actually like a defunct election, if you will. Like it's not an election that's going to be like counted, I guess you could say. Like, I mean, they will still count the votes, but it's not like the outcome's already been decided. But they printed the ballots before that happened. So you'll probably get a slip of paper that tells you that if you go vote at a polling location, but still vote for Judy because she's fantastic. So yeah, like a bracket. That's a smart way to look at it too. Okay, governor and lieutenant governor. So Lisa, great question. So I have not formally endorsed yet in the governor's race. I will tell you that I really I haven't had enough conversations with candidates. I did attend a candidate forum hosted by the Democratic Black Caucus with David Jolly, and I also know Gwen Graham really, really well. And so I do think that the David Jolly, Gwen Graham ticket, as they're talking more about data centers and concern around that, as they're talking more about public education. They've also endorsed reforming the tourism development tax, the TDT, a lot of issues that I find super appealing. Obviously, there's people that you could definitely argue that are more progressive running in these primaries. And so, I think that's kind of like the push and shove for a lot of folks that do lean more left. With that said, I'm great. I'm really hopeful that the David Jolly Gwen Graham ticket continues to reflect many of my values, which center on environmental protection, uh, good, strong, well-funded public schools, tackling the affordability crisis and challenging money in politics, and really being a forward-thinking. And I will say, I have not yet endorsed in this race, but Congressman Maxwell Frost has endorsed David Jolly, and I feel like it's pretty clear to me that David Jolly and Gwen Graham are going to win the primary. And for me, I want to be able to help impact their platform and impact their decision making versus be on the outside of it. With that said, he was a former Republican, so obviously there's been a lot of conversations about that, a lot of concern about that, and he has spoken very publicly about his evolution on issues around Planned Parenthood. Folks know I worked at Planned Parenthood before I ran for office. And so obviously, again, I have not formally endorsed. And those are, some of the difficulties that I have on a personal level. But I do think that he's evolved on all those topics. He's been very open about his evolution. And I do appreciate his position on pushing back against data centers alongside TET reform, another really important topic. So yeah, I see Kelly made some good points in the chat too. Has been Republican for almost 10 years. So yeah, I do appreciate Kelly's making some good points in the chat. Thank you, Kelly, for doing that. Okay, cool. And I'm really trying to be as positive as possible in these updates and not throw shade towards people. So I appreciate y'all working with me on that because I want to be respectful as possible. But I also am like being really realistic and like real. You know what I mean? You deserve like honesty from me, and I'm not gonna say I'm an expert on everything, but I have been doing this work since I was in college. So I have developed some instincts because, I'm 36. I'm not in my 20s anymore. So this officially makes me like a senior in some places. I actually am a senior in the Florida legislature because I've been there for 8 years. So time flies when you're fighting the good fight. All right, let me see. That was my last slide, y'all. So let me see what questions folks have. Oh, so also, why is their ticket the only one with two listed? Good question, Sam. So David Jolly is the only one that has chosen a running mate. So the other candidates have not chosen a lieutenant governor candidate. So um, that's why he's the only candidate that has both people listed. Um, Okay, judges. Oh, thank you, Brian. Great. Thank you, Brian, for doing that. I appreciate you. Um, okay, cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I have served Representative Johnny Joseph. I think Representative Joseph is wicked smart, a firm fighter for her community. However, she filed the very last minute. And I just don't see a clear path forward for that race. But I do think that she's been an honor to serve with in legislature, but she filed the last minute. So there's not a lot of infrastructure there as well. Okay, so oh, District 7 County Commissioner. Okay, great question. Great question. Oh my God. Okay. So let's talk real quick about yes. Oh, the question was, will all your picks be available on a graphic for later review? Yes. And then I see something about group county judge group 17. Let me hold on. Let me double check for you. Okay, so this is between Cherish Adams and Joy Goodyear. So Cherish Adams is appointed by Governor Ron DeSantis, which gives me pause. So I'm likely going to be supporting Joy in that race, but I've heard a lot of good attorneys that I trust also say good things about Cherish Adams. And I've met both Cherish and Joy, and I've had great engagement with both of them. So um, I have not formally like provided a recommendation in that race. So I hope that helps. Okay. So I would answer this question about District 7. So remember, Orange County voters last cycle approved two new county commission seats. So District 7 and District 8 are two new seats, and they are crowded. There are multiple people that have ran in both these districts, who are running, I should say, in both these districts, which means the likeliness of anyone getting 50% plus one is close to zero, right? Um, Thank you, Johnny. Comment on Reddit about how your brother saw my comment on Orlando from the other side. We love you. Keep the good fight. Thank you. It's so sweet. So this is a really good reminder. The county commission, all the nonpartisan elections, okay? I'm so glad you asked this question, Danielle, because I don't want to forget this point. All the nonpartisan elections may not be decided in August. If no one gets 50% plus one, they go to a runoff with the top two vote getters in November. So, for example, when you have multiple candidates running against each other in District 7 and District 2 and District 8, the likeliness of them actually having a winner, if you will, this August is really unlikely. There's just too many people running against each other that no one's going to get 50% plus one. Now, I will say, because there are so many people running against each other, um, you could, like, a handful of votes could decide who the top two vote getters are. So it's really important to vote in this election. I would bring you back to votefor1.org to research your candidates. I have not endorsed in District 7. If you want my opinion, you can send me an email. I'll definitely give it to you about those candidates, because I have a lot of friends that are all running against each other. So it's a little tough for me to get too involved. But what I will say is you got to vote in those elections, and it's less about who will win in August and more about the two top vote getters that will then go against each other in November. And the same could apply to the Orange County mayor's race, because there are four candidates running for Orange County as well. So, good question from Mary. Didn't Meyer Yerby step down? Oh, sorry, I lost it. Didn't Meyer Yerby step down from Orange County District 3 commission seat to run for mayor? Who's holding that seat right now? So she did step down, but remember, she resigned late. And so if she had resigned, so I'm sorry, correction, she has not stepped down yet. She actually sent a letter of resignation, but she picked a date later this year. So she's still the commissioner for District 3. But the issue is that when her resignation goes into effect, Governor DeSantis will appoint her replacement. So this was a big controversy because, remember, Tiffany Moore Russell, she was in a similar situation of resigned to run. So she resigned her seat in advance so that there would be an election for clerk of courts, not an appointee situation. And so, again, it's very confusing. But to summarize, Commissioner Ruby is still a county commissioner right now. Her resignation is not going to effect till later this year, but that also means that Governor DeSantis will appoint her replacement. And in contrast, when Tiffany Moore Russell had to resign as clerk of court, she did it on time, which triggered an election for clerk of court versus a appointee. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Um, okay, Rita, I'm sorry, I missed your question. So ask in case you didn't see it. If you don't want to answer, I get it. Angie Nixon is my choice. I do not see Vindman as a choice. So how do I handle this? Not vote. So Rita, right now you can vote for Angie Nixon. So you can vote for her on your primary ballot. And then in November, we'll host this again in November. And then we'll talk about what's on your ballot in November. So we'll do this again for the November election as well, because the November election also includes three constitutional ballot amendments, including the property tax amendment. So I really want to make sure y'all feel educated on the property tax amendment question. Actually, because I am such a nerd, I have already scheduled the November ballot review. So before I lose y'all, I'm going to drop this in the chat because I already scheduled the November one. So the November one is actually going to happen in October. So that's October 4th. It's a month before the election about. So if you go to mobilize.us/honor for Florida, and I'll see if I can drop this in the IG chat for my friends on Instagram. Sorry, one second. Um, I've already scheduled the same thing we just did. I already scheduled it for November. Okay. And so if you go to that website, and you'll be able to find it. And yes, one reason why I am supporting Rep. Nixon is because of her anti-war position, and I do think it's important to stop never-ending wars. And so I'm supporting Angie Nixon for those reasons and more. Okay. Question. Can I change my party affiliation, still vote in the primaries in November? So there will be no primaries in November, right? In November, you're basically voting on in every race, on every like topic. You don't have to worry about party affiliation in November. Okay, go back to my question. Congress, District 11, your thoughts. Okay, so I do not live in District 11. I live in District 10, but I know this race as well. This is the Dan Webster seat. So there are some really strong Democrats running in that seat. I have actually I'm not endorsed formally, but I have really liked a lot of the candidates there, but hold on, I'll make sure I get everyone's name right. Hold on one second. I'm sure there's people running that seat that I've not had a chance to even meet, but I run into a lot of candidates just, over this past few weeks. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to find a website that works. Okay, cool. So News 13 did do a candidate forum, so I encourage you to do that. So I have really liked I think both James and Dan are really great people. Um I'm leaning towards James just with his experience and just long history in public service, but I've seen Dan be very active across the district. But I haven't made a formal endorsement in that race. But those are the two folks that I kind of lean towards. But I definitely want to encourage you to do your research and um, if you want to talk offline about it more, just send me an email and I'm happy to as well. But I have not made a formal endorsement in that race. Okay, please vote no on property taxes. Okay, can you cover, I'm gonna wrap up in about 5 minutes, y'all. So thanks for sticking with me. Can you cover what identification will be required to vote in person? Will voter ID card suffice? So you're gonna need a picture ID with your face and signature. So a driver's license should be great. A driver's license should be all that you need to vote. Will you have another November prep meeting? I'll be out of country on 10/4. Yes, we will. We will absolutely have another one. And actually, it'll be recorded so you can watch it later as well. So don't stress, Sam. And then, yeah, I heard James just moved to Florida. So he has family in Florida, is my understanding. But I'm not 100% sure of that point. So that's a good point. Um, okay, who's worse than Republicans? Oh my gosh, great question. We don't have time to go into it, but I do think that I am frustrated. I'll say this: I'm frustrated by and I'll say this as a a Democrat. Like I do think that the Democratic Party continues to cede ground on issues that we should be the champions of to Republicans, i.e., data centers, i.e., TDT reform, i.e., just corporate accountability, workers' issues. Like, oftentimes, I feel like Democrats sometimes see this because there are some Democrats who don't want to talk about controversial topics, so they just avoid it completely. And then we let Republicans see that ground. And it's just so important, whether it's being anti-war, pro-peace, whether it is corporations paying taxes, paying what they owe, whether it's data center moratoriums, like there's some FWC reform, accountability with developers. Like I do feel like as Democrats, we tend to miss the mark because Democrats can be scared of their own shadow. And it's really, really important to be authentic, to be accessible, but to also champion these everyday issues that impact Florida, from the affordability crisis to environmental conservation and so many other topics that might intersect with big stakeholders. But at the end of the day, you are elected to represent your constituents, not large corporations. And that's a great way to end tonight's session. And I know folks probably have questions still. I know I didn't cover everything or probably give you everything you wanted or needed, but I really hope that at least there was some nuggets of information here. Yes, don't forget to place your absentee ballot in your secrecy envelope. You're right. I appreciate you for reminding us of that. Thank you, Ashton, for providing my backup support on letting people into the Zoom room. I appreciate you. And with that, it's been an honor to have you all with me tonight. Again, we'll do this again on October 4th. And we'll record it, we'll post it, we'll share it. But just so grateful that y'all made the time to join us tonight. This was absolutely a treat, fantastic. And we'll definitely see you soon, okay? Good night, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for all the hearts. Have a good night. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.